Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today, as you can tell from the title, it is a how-to video, how to conceal dark circles. I have made a couple of these in the past, but I've been getting a lot of questions in those videos that I figured I could answer here because my process has changed a little bit, and so it's been about a year since I did my last one. I figured I should do an updated 2018 one for you all today. So that is what we are going to be doing. So the first thing we're going to talk about is moisturizing. You want to moisturize your under eye area. You don't ever want to apply any kind of products on top of an unmoisturized under eye area. I just feel like when I moisturize, the products apply a lot smoother. Everything goes on a lot nicer. I've been using two different products in order to moisturize the under eye area before I apply any kind of makeup. The first one being this 100% pure moisturizing almond oil. Now, if you're allergic to almonds, definitely skip on this. Do not use almond oil if you're allergic. If you don't know whether or not you're allergic, make sure that you test this out on a different part of the skin to make sure that you don't have a reaction before you just apply it underneath the eye area. Some alternatives to this would be like coconut oil or jojoba oil, just in case you are allergic to this or you don't necessarily like almond oil. Those are a couple of alternatives that you can use underneath the eyes. But just like with this one, make sure that you test those out. Don't just apply something underneath your eyes, especially any kind of like pure oils like that if you don't know whether or not you're allergic. So just a disclaimer. The second product that I've been using is an eye cream. The one that I'm currently using right now is this one from Shiseido. It is their White Lucent Eye Cream. It is supposed to be like an anti-dark circles cream. I'm not really sure whether or not it's made a difference, but it definitely does a good job at moisturizing the under eye area. So the first thing that I do is just grab a tiny bit of the oil, maybe just a drop, not even a drop. And with my ring finger or with my middle finger, I just apply a nice light layer of that underneath the eyes. After I apply the oil, of course, I apply a little bit of the eye cream in the same way. So now that I've moisturized the under eye area, I always wait a few minutes in order to let everything seep into the skin. I find that if I go too fast, then everything is not seeped in and the products that I apply on top of my moisturizers just kind of glide around, and I definitely don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes before applying my color corrector. Okay, so it's been about 4 or 5 minutes. Everything is nicely seeped into the skin now. First thing that I'm going to use is a color corrector. You definitely want to use a color corrector if you're looking to completely conceal your under eye area. The one that I'm currently using is this one from Becca. It is their under eye brightening corrector. This is the new shade that just recently launched. I used to use the original brightening corrector, which would only come in one shade, which was this one right here. It was very bright under the eyes. It would do a really good job at brightening the under eye area. But I find that the new shade, which is this one right here, is just a little bit better for my complexion in order to combat the color underneath the eyes. As you can see, it's very, very different than the original. Now they offer these two. This one is listed as a light to medium shade, and this one is listed as a medium to deep shade, and this is the one that I use. Just take a little bit of that with my ring finger, and I start applying it by patting it underneath the eye. I find that applying this with my finger works best because the warmth of my finger and the warmth of my skin just lets everything glide on and blend out a lot easier. Okay, so now I'm simply going to jump off camera in order to apply foundation onto the entire face, skipping the under eye area. I never apply foundation onto the under eye area. I feel like the less products that go underneath the eyes, the better that it's going to look in the end. So yes, I'm going to simply apply foundation onto the entire face before coming back and showing you the next step to my concealing process. Okay, so now I am back with foundation on, and it is time to conceal the under eye area. The concealer that I always use, that I always seem to come back to, is this one right here. This one is the Tarte Shape Tape. I use the shade medium. I just find that this concealer combined with my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, it's like the best match that I have yet to find. It conceals the under eye area completely, and it doesn't crease on me. It stays put. It stays looking hydrated because the Becca Corrector Corrector is kind of like a tacky, creamy consistency. This concealer is more of a matte, dry finish. So when you combine the two, it meets in the middle, and it's a perfect match for me. So that is why I always go back to this concealer right here. Not to mention the fact that it is extremely full coverage, and so when I want that extreme full coverage underneath the eyes, this one is the one that I use. So I'm just going to take some of this and apply it on to the under eye area. And I usually do it in the triangle of light formation, which is just a triangle here, going here, and then coming back here. Okay, so now that I have the concealer underneath the eyes, I'm going to wait a little bit in order for it to set. I'm not going to wait for it to set completely, but I am going to wait for it to somewhat set underneath the eyes. I feel like I get better coverage when I wait for it to dry down just a tiny bit. When I go in right after I've applied the concealer, it's still too liquidy, and so it does get absorbed into the sponge more. But when I wait a little bit, it sets a little bit and less of the product goes into the sponge. Okay, so now that the concealer has somewhat set, it's when I go in and just blend out the edges. Okay, so now that the under eye area is nice and blended out, it is time to set it with a little bit of translucent powder. The one that I've been using is this RCMA No Color Loose powder. It's the one that I've been using for quite some time now. I am thinking about trying the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. That one is next on my list to try out, but for the last 2 years, year and a half, I've been using this one. And I love it so much because it is so inexpensive. It does exactly what it is meant to do, and that is to set makeup in place. It doesn't add any additional color on top of it. It doesn't make your skin feel dry. It doesn't make you feel like you have a layer of something on top. It just blends into the skin so nicely that that's why I love this setting powder underneath the eyes so much. So I just grab a little bit of that powder with my damp beauty blender, and as you can see, that is quite the amount on the beauty blender just from dipping it in. This is not the amount that I'm going to be placing underneath the eye. What I do is I just shake it off. I shake off any of the excess, and that leaves me with a nice light thin layer of powder, and that is what I apply underneath the eyes. Okay, so now that everything is done and set and in place, I'm going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look underneath the eye area. Okay, so this is what the under eye area looks like. As you can see, there is no creasing, everything is set in place, and the under eye area is pretty much fully concealed. Alright, and that is what I have been doing in order to conceal the under eye area. Of course, this isn't an everyday type of a routine, but on days where I would like full, long-lasting, creaseless coverage, this is my go-to. So thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future tutorials, product reviews, beauty-related videos, and also don't forget to follow me on all of my other social media platforms. I am All Beauty by Sarah with an H on Instagram and All Beauty by Sarah without the H on Snapchat and Twitter. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.